Cinema 2. Tonight's feature has been The Quiet Man, starring John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara.
Second chance to get Golden Advantage rebates. The sales spectacular has been extended. Your Chrysler Plymouth dealers are out to slash their inventory, so they're giving fantastic deals on everything in stock. Plus, $500 Golden Advantage cash back on Plymouth Voyager, America's best-selling minivan. And save $300 on Voyager LE options. But hurry, the sales spectacular lasts only a few more days.
There's a new car for you today at your Metro Chrysler Plymouth dealer, where they have more advantages for your family.
In the spirit of the Northwest, serving Oregon and Southwest Washington, this is Channel 2 News. With Jeff Gianola and Julie Emery, Jim Little, Steve Arena, and the entire Channel 2 News team.
Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Jeff Gianola. Julie Emery has the evening off. The new year means time is running out to solve the Persian Gulf crisis. The deadline for Iraq to pull out of Kuwait is January 15th. ABC's Ann Compton reports President Bush wasted no time when he returned to the White House from Camp David.
The new year holds an uncertain future for President Bush in the greatest crisis of his presidency, the Persian Gulf. But in the spirit of the holiday, he expressed thanks for help where he has found it, namely the Soviet Union. In an exchange of videotaped messages with Mikhail Gorbachev, Mr. Bush described the Soviet people as friendly neighbors.
We've taken a common approach to a new challenge in the name of stability and peace. I applaud, the world applauds, the decisive action of the Soviet Union in strongly opposing Saddam Hussein's brutal aggression in the Gulf.
President Gorbachev said in his message, the new U.S.-Soviet relationship made all the difference.
Trust and mutual understanding leaders of our two countries has produced a healthier international environment. President Bush and I will meet again shortly. I'm confident that this meeting will further strengthen the constructive foundation of our relations.
Presidents Bush and Gorbachev will meet in Moscow in mid-February, about a month after the deadline set for Iraq to withdraw from Kuwait. The U.S. says it is still willing to hold direct talks with Saddam before that deadline, and Secretary of State Baker will likely make another trip to the region soon. Tonight, the president's top national security team arrived for a strategy session. President Bush chose not to wait until tomorrow to review his military and diplomatic options. Aides say it is likely that Secretary of State Baker will be sent back to the Gulf region once more before January 15th to consult with the allies and to wait for one more invitation to Baghdad. Ann Compton, ABC News, the White House.
Saddam Hussein may be anticipating war following the January 15th deadline. Saddam paid a New Year's visit to the front lines, cooking dinner for some of his troops stationed there. Iraq's news agency says Saddam has ordered 60 more military units to beef up his forces along the Saudi Arabian border. Military analysts say that would increase Saddam's troops to 500,000 in Kuwait and southern Iraq. Vice President Dan Quayle, meanwhile, wrapped up his handshaking tour of the Mideast on the aircraft carrier USS John F. Kennedy. Quayle told sailors there was a good chance they would go to war. The vice president later met with exiled emir of Kuwait. Comedian Robin Williams greeted the U.S. troops in his popular movie Good Morning Vietnam. Today, he got a chance to play that role once again.
Good morning,
Yeah, I think that's good. I feel like real sharp. This is getting to be like...
That's right. Come on, bring that tank in. Get it painted incredibly quick now. Camouflage. Don't be afraid.
Well, Williams taped the 5-hour show for Armed Services Radio in Saudi Arabia. The radio show is reminiscent of the DJ role he played in Good Morning Vietnam. Well, here on Channel 2 News, we're paying tribute to local soldiers stationed in the Mideast. Tonight, we salute Staff Sergeant Rick Forsman of Oregon City. Rick is stationed at an airbase in Turkey, about 30 miles from the Iraqi border. His folks live in Oregon City. If you'd like to write to him, here's the special address. Address it to Staff Sergeant Rick Forsman, 401 AGS Deployed, APO, New York, 092 3289. And if you want to salute a friend of a relative or your own relative stationed in the Mideast, send us the person's name, a picture, and a few brief facts. Mail it to Salute, KATU, P.O. Box 2, Portland, Oregon, 97207. We'll return the picture if you include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Well, proof of just how bad the banking crisis has gotten. It'll be seen in Rhode Island tomorrow. The state's new governor, Bruce Sunland, declared a bank emergency today, shutting down 45 banks and credit unions in Rhode Island. Sunland announced the state is taking control of the institutions insured by the Rhode Island Share and Deposit Indemnity Company, also known as RISDIC.
A bank holiday will begin tomorrow, closing all institutions formerly insured by RISDIC.
The institutions are insured by a private fund that's on the verge of running out of money. The governor says they will stay closed until they get federal deposit insurance. The banks and credit unions represent about 300,000 accounts. In Amity, Oregon, police are investigating a series of pipe bomb explosions which rocked Amity City Park overnight. Authorities discovered one unexploded 8-inch bomb and 2 detonated bombs when they arrived at the park this morning. The explosions damaged some park equipment but caused no injuries. A neighbor found the unexploded pipe bomb this morning after witnessing 2 blasts just after midnight.
We were all in bed, and about 12:20, 12:30, one of them exploded and just shook all the windows, so we come outside, and they were going off over here in the park around the trees.
Local authorities called in the Salem Bomb Squad to dispose of the undetonated device. Police have no motive for the bombings and have made no arrests in the case. Well, he was due on Christmas Day. His mother spent most of New Year's Eve in labor, and he was born at 12 seconds past midnight this morning. He is Devin Ross DeCamp, the first baby born in Portland in 1991. Devin weighs 7 pounds, 11 ounces, and parents Paul and Deborah DeCamp of Gresham are glad he's finally here.
And said that it was close to midnight, so they turned the TV on, and we were doing the countdown on the TV as I was pushing through the whole thing. So after it hit midnight, everybody was counting after that, and it was 12 seconds after midnight that he had come out.
Well, they just missed that little tax deduction, didn't they? The staff at Good Samaritan Hospital is also proud. Spokesmen say it's the 3rd year in a row they played host to the city's first baby of the new year.
Yep.
Still ahead tonight here on Channel 2 News, the new year becomes a time of mourning for a skydiver who was in yesterday's plane crash near Estacada. And what would possess folks to water ski on the Willamette on a day like today? We'll find out in a moment.
This is a top quality set of tires, and this is a ton of money. Now, at most tire stores, it takes this to buy these. But there's a new tire store changing that called Just Tires. It offers fast service on quality brand tires at guaranteed low prices. So you can drive off on a set of these without leaving behind a ton of this. Just Tires. Just plain smart.
In about an hour, you can get a desirable new look, a glowing look, an approachable look. In about an hour, get the one look that's right for you at Binion's Optical Superstore with eyewear specialists to help. An in-store lab so even no-line bifocals and trifocals are ready in about an hour. For the look you've been looking for, in about an hour, get a better look at Binion's. Buy one, get one free, or we'll pay up to $40 for your eye exam. Some cars come and go, but every once in a while, they dance. Introducing the new G20 from Infiniti. A mid-sized luxury sedan that offers lots of room, all the amenities, and a nimble spirit that's every inch an infinity. Here to dance.
Once upon a time, there was an incredible vegetable, a green giant mushroom. It did amazing things for food. The giant picked only the mushrooms plump enough to make pasta perfect, juicy enough to make spaghetti sumptuous, and salads scrumptious. Soon people added the giant's mushrooms to chicken, burgers, stew, gravy, and people ate happily ever after.
Because Green Giant mushrooms give everything a lift.
Ho, ho, ho.
Green Giant.
Federal investigators today resume their investigation into a plane crash outside Estacada New Year's Eve. The accident killed one man and hospitalized two others. Reporter Bob High has more on the investigation and the shock felt by fellow skydivers who saw the plane go down.
A Federal Aviation Administration investigator spent the morning combing through the wreckage. The 1959 Cessna single-engine plane was carrying a pilot and 3 skydivers when it crashed just after takeoff from Beaver Oaks Airport west of Estacada at about 2 p.m. New Year's Eve.
We checked the fuel and the filters, checking to see if there was a spark in the engine, just to make sure that everything was functioning correctly or incorrectly.
53-year-old Bill Partlow of Clackamas, one of the skydivers, died following the crash. All 4 on board the plane were members of the Western Sport Parachute Center at Beaver Oaks Airport. Partlow's friends gathered to remember him and comfort each other. They maintain safety is always the center's main concern.
We just can't believe that it actually happened. It's the first airplane crash that we've had out here in numerous years. Well, anytime you lose a brother, you know, it's tough.
Robin Wolfenbarger is shocked at the death of his close friend and skydiving companion, especially after the pilot apparently followed normal startup procedures.
Farrell give it a good run-up, cycled the prop 6 or 7 times, took off heading to the south there, and I turned my back, and Darrell sees the plane going down, and I turned around and looked, and it was sinking.
The National Transportation Safety Board will likely remove and test the plane's engine to see if it was running at the time of the crash. One reason investigators say it may take months to determine the cause of this accident. Near Estacada, Bob High, Channel 2 News.
And a man has died from injuries he received in a drug-related shooting at a North Portland motel on Christmas Day. A gunman shot 23-year-old Everett Echeverria and 2 other men in the head at the Marco Polo Motel last Tuesday. Police say the shootings involved cocaine. An autopsy is scheduled on Echeverria tomorrow. The 2 other men remain in serious condition tonight. Meantime, authorities are searching for the suspect, 18-year-old Jorge Luis Hernandez Peña. Some residents in Anacortes, Washington are being evacuated from their homes tonight. The ground is slowly tearing away, drifting downhill on Fidalgo Island, threatening to carry about 30 homes into the water. Houses are cracking and coming off at the foundation. Roads are splitting. An unusually low tide combined with rain-soaked soil is causing the problem. Now, the homes threatened tonight range in price from $250,000 to $750,000. Well, here in Oregon, the skies may have been dry, but in true Oregonian style, one group today carried on a 9-year tradition of starting the new year on a wet note. About 25 bundled-up boaters and dry-suited water skiers took to the Willamette River for speed water skiing races between Willamette Park and the Markham Bridge this morning.
Just being on the water, I love to be on the water, and that's anything. I'm with a lot of the people that I ski with. We just like to be on the water as much as possible, and winter or summer, we'll be out here.
Well, this morning's event was scheduled to start at 9 o'clock. It started about an hour late. Some participants said getting anyone up early, even dedicated water skiers on New Year's Day, is an awful lot to ask. Well, at least they didn't have to contend with the fog. Up in Seattle, SeaTac tonight, there were some delays at the airport. Nothing here in Portland, though, Jim.
Well, I would check with my airline, however, because the fog is very dense here in the Portland area. In fact, take a look at the bank cam right now, and it is so foggy. We don't have a bank cam? Well, maybe we do. I don't know. That's it. It's so foggy. Those lights there are the obstruction lights on the other side, just probably 50 feet away on top of the bank. And you can hardly see a thing. It is very foggy outside right now. Fog and 35 degrees, humidity 96%. Winds east at 5. Barometer is rising. The freezing level has gone up. We hit 48 today, the warmest temperature in about 3 weeks. We'll have all the weather next on Channel 2 News.
Hi, got any microwaves, Bob? Just cooking at Tony's Microwave Pizza, Bob. Couldn't wait to get home. Bob, you make a better door than you do a window, Bob.
Were you happy with your Christmas gift this year? Not really? Well, you're not alone. Tomorrow on AM Northwest, we'll meet some folks who say they've received the worst Christmas presents ever. How do you accept something you hate graciously?
Join us for a fun hour on AM Northwest.
He grew up calling her aunt. She was really his mom.
I do regret giving him up, but he had a better life with them.
She's your mother, and you never knew it. Next Oprah Winfrey Show.
Wednesday at 4 on Channel 2.
Toyotathon Coast to Coast is almost over.
There are still great deals on every Toyota.
But they're going fast.
Joe Garagiola.
Joe.
Well, your Rango's here saved a fast 2,000, eh?
More than 2,000.
With finance, you made it easy. These guys are really dealing.
We really are dealing. With option package savings up to $900 and Camry incentives up to 1,500 trucks, too. But not for long. Don't miss it.
See your Toyotathon dealer.
Today.
Oak Unlimited year-end clearance sale is going on now. We carry a full line of bedroom furniture featuring AccuRide drawer guides. We have TV stands, stereo cabinets, and our own design of custom-built entertainment centers. The quality of our office and computer furniture is something to be proud of. Our showroom is full of dining furniture featuring Vargas solid oak tables. I'm sorry, folks, but these low prices are only while quantities last. So don't wait. Come out now to any one of our 5 locations. I've always said a wise shopper compares quality.
Yes, if you look closely today, there were some patches with some blue sky. Not very many, but there were a few. And around the state, there were many patches of blue sky. A little bit of rain in the last 24 hours, at least in the 24 hours ending at 4 o'clock along the coast. And in the Willamette Valley, 200s reported at the Portland Airport, 1,600s at Olympia, 1,500s at Tillamook. But generally light amounts of rain, and the clouds were thin enough tonight or today to allow a little blue sky through. However, because of all of the snow we've had that's melted now, the ground is saturated, the water evaporates into the air, and as soon as the sun went down and the temperatures cooled a few degrees, water vapor condensed into fog, and the fog is very dense. Visibility is less than 1/8 of a mile up and down the Willamette Valley. There are dense fog advisories out in Salem and Eugene and Portland tonight, and it will be very slow going tomorrow because there is no wind movement, nothing coming along to move that out. In fact, we're still in the dead of winter here. The sun angle is very low. We won't get much heating from the sun tomorrow to help evaporate that fog. So it looks to be a foggy day through much of the day tomorrow. Likely thinning out a little bit in the afternoon. Very, very foggy overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. And as everybody comes back to work on the first day after the holiday, it's going to be slow going because of the fog. These are the high temperatures today. Still cold over in Baker. Cold air trapped in the valley there, 20 degrees for a high temperature. But Pendleton, especially at the airport that sits up on a plateau, 44 degrees. It was 49 at the Dalles, 48 again in Portland. 45 was the high temperature in Eugene. 48 is above average. We finally got above average. 36 was the low. We end up the month of December at 2.4 inches, and that is below normal by 4 inches. And it was both a dry and a cold December. Went into the record books as the second coldest and the 5th driest December on record at the Portland Airport. So we end up the year at almost 33 inches of rain in Portland, but that also is below average by just about 4 inches. Here's a look at the high temperatures around the country today. A little bit on the cool side, especially through the northern plains, just 3 degrees up at Bismarck today. 30 was the high temperature in Chicago, only 46 in Atlanta. Cool weather all the way down to the Gulf Coast today. It was 79 degrees in Miami, 19 degrees below zero in Fairbanks, 25 in Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, 50, 60 degrees in San Francisco this afternoon. One more look at our satellite picture here. There's quite a bit of cloudiness out here, but that's really not associated with any strong storminess. There is a weather system out here that's moving very slowly, and we may see that for the weekend. There is also a weather system here off the California coast. It could spread some rain into California in the next day or so. Most of that should stay south of the border. We'll watch to the south carefully. And the Arctic air is bottled up to the north and shows no signs of heading our direction. So, mild weather, a lot of fog, but otherwise not much in the way of precipitation the next few days. Let's check our forecast. First along the coast, partly cloudy skies with areas of morning fog, light east winds along the coast. Coastal conditions, easterly to northeasterly winds to 15 knots, seas to 2 feet, and swells northwesterly 5 to 8 feet. Low clouds in the Columbia Basin, otherwise just partly cloudy skies east of the Cascades. Baker, still cool again tomorrow, 0 tonight, 18 during the day tomorrow in Baker City. Partly cloudy skies in the Cascades, partly cloudy skies in the west end of the gorge, mostly cloudy in the east, although fog, of course, on the west end of the gorge. There is a fog advisory out for the western valleys, the Willamette Valley anyway, western valleys of Oregon and Washington, mostly cloudy with areas of thick morning fog. Same thing for the Portland-Vancouver area. And we'll see that patchy fog on Thursday, partly cloudy skies after some patchy fog for Friday and Saturday. Chance for rain again
on Sunday for the extended outlook. Again, I would check with my airline if I had a flight out tomorrow because I expect there may be some delays.
I think there are a few delays out. We got word at Portland Airport tonight. Horizon Airlines canceled a few flights. So good advice, Jeff. Okay, thanks a lot. Well, hundreds of thousands gathered in Pasadena today, which was very sunny, to watch the Rose Parade. And the city of Roses, Portland, was well represented. Portland's entry in the Rose Parade was a big hit down south. Here's how national television viewers saw it.
The Portland, Oregon Rose Festival. That's the city of roses. Very logical that they would be here again this year.
That's Sparkles the Clown, inviting children of all ages to enjoy this entry.
That's Erin Neal, the 1990 Portland Rose Festival queen, a native of the city, a freshman at Whitman College in Walla Walla.
All right, Aaron, only 12 bands marched in the Rose Parade, and we can be proud that Oregon's Aloha High School was one of the bands taking part. Okay, that was the Aloha High School band. They estimate that more than 1 million people lined the parade route. Millions more, of course, watched on television. Among them, Steve Arena, who is keeping track of all the action. Boy, a lot of bowl games, some high scores in these bowl games.
Exactly. Some good ball games, some real blowouts. But what a treat, what a thrill for those kids to take part in that parade. Something they'll never forget. In sports tonight, the college football season wraps up business with 8 bowl games today. When we come back, we'll have the highlights. Which team will be named #1 tomorrow? Well, Channel 2 Sports is up next.
When you taste Progresso, you know it. There's no soup quite like it. Progresso has that sunny Italian flavor, a special goodness all its own.
There's no soup like Progresso.
If you want to pay less for high-octane power, less for an excellent detergent package, less for superb engine performance, all-in-one gasoline, forget about Chevron, Texaco, Unocal, or BP. You'll find it at Arco. Arco's powerful new Super Unleaded. On average, it's 6 cents a gallon less than other major Super Unleadeds. Arco's low-priced, high-powered Super Unleaded. There's no better gasoline at any price.
Well, she, doesn't treat me and my little sister as equal as she treats her kids.
On the next Donahue, step families.
She doesn't listen to me, doesn't show me any respect.
I've raised my own children. I have a better understanding of them. I know where they're coming from. They're mine. And she's not.
She tried to take the place of my father.
You resent her being an authority person, is that it?
Coping with your stepchild. Next Donahue.
Wednesday afternoon at 3 on KATU Channel 2.
I'm Jillian Spencer, and I'm a writer for all my children. I love to read, and I love to write, obviously. And I'd like to talk to you about rewriting the story of your life. If you can't read, get help. And if you can read, offer your help. You can do both and get more information by calling the Literacy Line.
For information on literacy programs in Oregon and Southwest Washington, call 1-800-322-8715.
Blowouts dominated bowl day, but it was only right the game with the most on the line proved to be the best. Colorado could very well be named college football's national champions tomorrow after a breathtaking one-point win over Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Down 6-3, the Buffaloes lose their #1 quarterback when Darian Hagan is helped off the field with a ruptured tendon in his knee. But backup Charles Johnson fills the gap. He drives Colorado in the third. Eric Bieniemy scores from the 1. 10-9 Colorado. Then with just 43 seconds left to play, watch the Rocket Man, Rakib Ismail, takes the punt on his own 9, and he breaks free. 91 yards for the touchdown, but hold everything. There's a penalty flag on the field, and it's against Notre Dame. The Irish caught 4 clipping. The play comes back, and Colorado survives, winning 10-9. The Buffaloes finish 11-1-1 on the year. Georgia Tech made its bid for a national championship today, blowing past Nebraska in the Citrus Bowl. Georgia Tech finishes college football's only unbeaten team this year. And these guys were impressive. Ask Nebraska. Take a look at Sean Jones. Unload to Bobby Rodriguez. Great pass, great catch. And this gives you an idea what kind of day Georgia Tech had. Jones can do it all. He rolls left and finds Emmett Merchant right here in the end zone for 6. Georgia Tech leads 21-14 at the halftime break. But then look out, because William Bell takes over and he breaks Nebraska's defense. Bell scores from 7 yards out for a 38-21 lead. And then he stuns the Cornhuskers with the run of the day. Watch him get stuffed, but then spin, and look at this. He's gone. 57 yards in the touchdown. Bell ran for 127 yards. Georgia Tech wins 45-21. They finish 11-0-1 on the year. Well, if they hadn't slipped against UCLA, Washington would be in the hunt for a national championship. Instead, they took out their frustrations on Iowa in the highest-scoring game in Rose Bowl history. Special teams play a big role for the Huskies early. They are all over the punt for the block. Dana Hall takes it home for a touchdown. Washington fired up with a 10-0 lead. They flat blow away the Hawkeyes in the first half. Iowa's nowhere close on the pass right here. Charles Mincy with the interception and touchdown. It's 19-7 Huskies. A little later, Washington threatens again, and this time the offense comes through. 4th down and inches. Mark Brunell takes it home, and Washington breaks it open, leading 26-7. Just over a minute to play in the first half. Brunell strikes with a perfect pass to Mario Bailey. 33-7 Huskies at the half. A last-ditch Iowa rally falls 12 points short. Washington wins 46-34. A record-breaking day for Miami in the Cotton Bowl. They record the most lopsided victory in the history of that bowl game, 46-3 over Texas. The Hurricanes simply overpowered the Longhorns. Defensively, Russell Maryland dominated the line of scrimmage. He established his game right off the bat. Watch Maryland with the sack, forcing the fumble. Miami recovers, and the Hurricanes are on their way. Miami had no trouble moving the ball and scoring points. Craig Erickson with a Cotton Bowl record, 4 touchdown passes. This one goes to Wesley Carroll for a 12-0 Miami lead. The game quickly becomes a rout. Erickson airs it out to Randall Hill. The bomb stuns Texas. Miami rolls 46-3. Watch Hill run off the field into the tunnel. That's where Coach Dennis Erickson says he can dance, not on the field. Miami also flagged for a record 202 yards in penalties. Maybe the most impressive performance was turned in by Louisville. They crushed Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. Browning Nagel with a record-smashing day, throwing for 451 yards. 70 of those come right here on the touchdown pass, and Louisville never looked back. Nagel threw for 223 yards alone in the first quarter when the Cardinals were breaking this one open. He hooks up with Anthony Cummings. Watch out into the goalpost. 19-0 Louisville. They're not finished yet. Late first quarter, they block the punt and score another touchdown. 25 points in the first quarter. Louisville in command, and they never let the Crimson Tide back into the game. Nagel hits 20 of 33 passes. Louisville finishes with a 10-1-1 record, the best ever season in the school's history. And in the Sugar Bowl tonight, Tennessee's Tony Thompson scores with 35 seconds left to play. The Volunteers conquer a 16-0 deficit to beat Virginia 23-22. 2 other bowl finals. Michigan with 715 total yards, beating Mississippi 35-3 in the Gator Bowl, and Clemson 30-0 over Illinois in the Hall of Fame Bowl. And that's sports.
And, you know, my father called me up tonight arguing why Notre Dame should have won that game. I finally said, Dad, you have to face up. They lost.
Definite clip on the punt return.
It certainly was. Anyway, thanks a lot, Steve.
All right.
Take care. Well, hundreds of people turned out along Portland's waterfront park to usher in the new year. About 1,600 people took part in First Run, a 5K run and walk benefiting Northwest Pilot Project. Channel 2 is a proud sponsor, and Paul Linden was on hand to welcome those taking part. Almost 1,000 participants signed up last night, an all-time record. First Run is one of the biggest New Year's running events in the country. This year's event raised about $15,000 for charity, and folks had a good time down there. Coming up next on Channel 2 is Portland as you remember it. Pages of a calendar taking back at least 50 years.
Well, she, doesn't treat me and my little sister as equal as she treats her kids.
On the next Donahue, step families.
She doesn't listen to me, doesn't show me any respect.
I've raised my own children. I have a better understanding of them. I know where they're coming from. They're mine. And she's not.
She tries to take the place of my father.
You resent her being an authority person, is that it? Coping with your stepchild. Next Donahue.
Wednesday afternoon at 3 on KATU Channel 2.
On the next Inside Edition, he designs machines that legally kill. Machines that some say torture.
It caused spasm in the vein, real terrible burning in the vein before it stopped the heart.
Is he who he says?
The allegations are that, in fact, he's not an engineer at all, and that may be misrepresenting his credentials.
He deals in debt.
I very definitely think I'm being persecuted.
Inside Edition. On the inside, it's a whole different story.
Wednesday night at 7 on KATU Channel 2.
He said he'd be here by 6. Hope he's right here for you in this weather. Well, it's the drunk drivers you have to watch out for.
I'm sure he knows better than to drink and drive.
He's always worn safety belts, even before it was the law.
Honey, we'll open the presents when he gets here.
I'll be home for Christmas.
Well, finally tonight, this is the time of year most of us pick up a calendar for the new year. And one of the most popular calendars on sale in Portland takes an old-time look at the new year. Jim Hyde and photographer Mark Plutt leaf through the pages, and they bring them to life.
As Portland embarks on 1991, people wonder where we are heading. I don't know, but we may find a perspective by looking at where we've been.
That's the focus of the Portland As You Remember It calendar. Scenes like this one at Southwest 6th and Morrison in 1925 take one back. Old Portland scenes are the basis for calendar compiler Jim Davis' 4th annual date book. The streetcar that used to stop at 33rd and Belmont returns briefly in the March calendar, although it hasn't stopped there in years, nor anywhere else along that street. The new electric train pulls away from the corner at 1st and Yamhill, but it no longer reveals the Oregon Journal building on Harbor Drive. Neither are there any longer. Nor is the view from 6th Avenue in front of what is now the Hilton the same as it was. No more wind-blown ladies in flat-topped hats. Subjects are in transition along the Transit Mall today. Still, the more we resolve to change, the more we remain the same.
To lose some weight and be consistent on it.
Have you made that resolution before?
Every year. Never lose it.
Well, I think every year just being kinder and more conscious of mankind in general. I think that's something that I just see every day in the news. Need to be more conscious of loving, showing love and understanding to other people.
So while the view of Portland from Southwest Montgomery Street on this first day of 1991 is different from years gone by, the resolutions are much the same. Let's hope we all keep them this time. In Southwest Portland, Jim Hyde, Channel 2 News.
And that's our news. For Steve, Jim, the entire Channel 2 News team, take care. Drive careful because of the fog. And Nightline is next with predictions for 1991. So stay tuned for that. Good night, everybody.